When I was 6, I really wanted to be a lorry driver.
Really? Why?
I thought it'd be cool, like driving about all day. It's not. What a change, right? No, I actually did want to do that.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast Chatzzz. And we have got a very, very special guest today, Vanessa Brown. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. You've met me before.
See you again.
Yeah. We went to school together years ago. So I messaged you, was it last week or the week before?
Yeah, a couple of weeks
ago.
Yeah.
You've been in Paris, you're back from Paris.
Vanessa in Paris.
Yeah, Vanessa in Paris. And yeah, so I did prep you over message in that, but you said you just kind of like to wing things.
Yes, off the cuff.
Yeah. So
Can't read a script.
So how would you introduce yourself to somebody that you're meeting for the first time, maybe? Like the viewers and the listeners and stuff like that.
So my name's Vanessa. I'm 27 years old. I run my own clinic, aesthetics clinic called VL Aesthetics, which is in Carlisle. And I also run the UK operation for an American company, which we specialise in low-level lasers for pain management, accelerated healing and fat loss. I like to spend time with family and friends. That's kind of a boring thing to say. I do like the Formula One. I'm a big Man United fan as well. But, you know, I do focus a lot on business and my career, which is great because it keeps me challenged.
Yeah, nice. That's a really good intro. So then what we just prepped for, the 3 facts about yourself. Yeah. Have you decided what you're going to say?
I think so, yeah. I think I've got this. So, fact number 1. Yeah. Ready? So, I'm half English. No, I'm not actually. I
was going to say.
Did I come up? So, no, I'm half Russian and I'm half Scottish, which quite a lot of people will say, well, you know, that's quite a lethal combination, you know, when it comes to, let's say, drinking vodka, when it comes to obviously drinking whiskey, it's quite a combination to have. Yeah. And also I kind of gave this fact away. So I run VL Aesthetics and then I also run the UK for an American company. And I have also visited over 50 countries and we're not naming them all.
So we'll talk a bit about the first one then. So half Scottish and half Russian, not English.
Yeah, not English. Just clarify that point.
How was that then growing up? Was it your mum?
Yes.
Who was who?
Exactly. So my mum's Russian and my dad's Scottish, and they met through work actually. So they met on a business trip. So my mum used to be an interpreter for a company that my dad was working with. Obviously a long time ago now, like well over 30 years ago. And so growing up, I used to be able to speak fluent Russian when I was maybe about 6 years old. And then obviously when you go to school, I've lived in England all my life. So I think that's where I got mixed up with being half English, not half Scottish. And I've lived in England like all my life. So I think going to an English school, like you associate with other people that just speak English. So you forget how to speak Russian. So I now can't speak fluent Russian, but I could probably pick up like a few conversational things. But yeah, it was fine growing up.
Oh, cool. So then the second one, I reckon we'll talk about the business stuff in a bit.
Okay.
And then the third one is you visited over 50 countries.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I love to travel. And COVID was really difficult because obviously you couldn't go anywhere for like 2 years. And I just got vaccinated, obviously, to travel as soon as, I left it quite late. But anyways, it's a second story. Yeah, I love to travel. I think I went abroad for the first time when I was about 3 years old. I went to Portugal. And now I've traveled, like I've done Southeast Asia. I've done quite a few places in the States. My favourite country of all is definitely the UAE, and I absolutely love Dubai. Like I would move there in a second if I could. But yeah, I just love to travel. I love seeing new places, new cultures. And I always think when you travel, you should really like experience what the locals do. So I'm not always a tourist that just goes to tourist places. I really think that you should see what the locals do.
Yeah, I think like Dubai, when I went, I've been doing once. I'm going this month for my birthday again. But it's very different than I first expected. I thought it was going to be like loads of money everywhere, but there is just normal people, isn't there? Just like out and about kind of thing.
It's not like proper, Dubai bling. Like it's not like that. And I lived there for 6 months when I was at uni. So I spent quite a bit of time there. And the people, depending on where you go, I mean, there's a lot of fakeness that goes on there. But, it's like anyway, it depends where you go.
Yeah.
It's what they've done and how they've developed it. And it's such a safe place as well. You go so many places and they're just not safe. The crime level is really low as well. And it's just, every time I go, I'm just so happy. Like, I just love it there.
Yeah. How come you want to move over there?
Well, I'm hoping that work will take me over, like at some point in the next 6 months. Like, let's hope for that. So yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah. All right, cool. So let's go back to a little Vanessa then. So maybe like first memory or what you were like growing up and anything that kind of shaped who you are like today.
Yeah.
So going back then, what were you like as a kid then?
So, I mean, I think I'd always like challenge like teachers. If you talk about school, like I'd always challenge teachers. I never kind of be one of those people that could just be told what to do and then just get on with it. And I just think that does shape you as an adult for sure. I think growing up as a kid, like I can remember like when I was at school and it was like they were trying to introduce like a makeup ban. So it was like obviously where girls, I think I don't know, 12, 13, something like that. They were saying, oh, you can't wear makeup. And it got to the point where I literally was just refusing to take my makeup off. And it's not down to like any other point of view. It's just the fact it's probably led into what I do now in the sense that we've obviously got the clinic and every single female that comes in through the clinic, they want to like, you know, look their best, feel their best, etc., etc. And if makeup's one of them things that young girls can do, then I think great. Like there was a situation, I think it was just last year, and it was like my hairdresser, her daughter got sent home from school because she'd put pink in her hair. And I was like, that's really not on. Like, and she's one of the brightest kids in her class as well. I'm like, why are you excluding someone based on like just their hair? Like, if they want to do that to express themselves, I think kids should be allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was always one of them kids that would challenge situations like that.
I think as well, like the school system in general, isn't it? You have to follow, you should follow some rules and stuff, but everyone wants you to be the same.
Yeah.
And then maybe if you're a little bit different, you get like punished for it. But then when you leave school, isn't it? If you're different, then people are maybe admired or they're the ones that kind of go on to do
I do think
things.
I mean, discipline obviously is good in children, like, you know, because otherwise they'll just go and overstretch the boundaries. But I do think that when you're at school, things like that you should be allowed to do, and actually schools should embrace it. But then some people may say, yeah, but there's a fine line because now there's so many different genders out there. It's actually like chaotic with so much going on. So there's a fine line, definitely.
Yeah. So how did you find it going through school then? Did you enjoy it or not really?
I think as a kid, like you get it so easy compared to like what it's like in adult life. You used to go to school like 8:30 till 3 or 4 o'clock, and now it's just non-stop. You work 24 hours a day as good as. And yeah, it was all right. Like I don't think I'd want to repeat it. As soon as I graduated uni, I says that's me done. I'm not, you know, going back and doing kind of like the academic studying again. But then I do myself with people that I can learn from. So I just don't think that you can ever stop learning, but there's different ways of how you can learn.
Yeah, I think that's true, isn't it? I say like to lots of people that when you're at school, like you're exercising your brain all the time, aren't you? You're learning new things, or like even when people leave school, they go to the gym and exercise the muscles, try and get bigger. But then when a lot of people leave school, they stop exercising the brain, don't they?
Exactly.
And that's where you kind of plateau.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, every day, like especially in the industry, I surround myself with the best possible people in the industry because I learn from them and I enjoy learning from them. So I think just there's a transition from like the academic side of things at school where no one remembers like, you know, all the triangles, measurements, stuff you had to do in maths. Like, when do you ever use that?
Like Pythagoras.
When do you ever use that? But like the education never stops. And I think like, especially yourself, if you want to challenge yourself as an individual, you have to keep learning. You can't obviously just stop.
Yeah, you never want to be the smartest person in the room, do you?
No, that's, again, a fine line.
Yeah. So then what did you want to do then when you were growing up? Had you ever like aspired to be, I don't know, like an astronaut, or did you want to do what you're doing now, or did you not really thought about?
Well, actually, when I was like, I don't know,
play for Manchester United.
Yeah, no. Like, when I was 6, I really wanted to be a lorry driver.
Really? Why?
I thought it'd be cool driving about all day. What a change, right? No, I actually did want to do that. And then
when did that stop then? What, 7?
I don't know, like 23. No, it wasn't. Yes, I did want to do that. I went for a stage of wanting to do that. And then I think because I've always been involved in family businesses, I've always had business like embedded in me from a young age. Like I started my first eBay business, I think I was about 10 years old. So it's always been in me to want to be in business, but obviously your direction changes a lot as you grow up.
What did you sell on eBay then?
So what I used to sell was I used to basically sell like autographs of like people that were on Neighbours, Casualty, Hollyoaks. And it was it was the time where basically you could write them a letter and they would just send you an autograph for free. And then I used to so I had a few because I actually liked watching Neighbours as a kid. I think it was because my mum used to watch it when she was pregnant with me. And I basically would write them a letter, like asking for an autograph. And then I was getting quite a few of them and I was like, do you know what? I could probably sell these. So I started selling them on eBay. I was getting like 20, 30 quid a go, especially if it was like a limited edition one. I'd be like raking it.
That's a fortune at 10 as well.
It's a lot of money. So I literally I'd probably sell like 100, like, you know, within like a month or something like that. I've still got a few now, like collector's items. But yeah, so I used to do that and then they caught on. So then I started using different people's names. So I started like sending letters from my brother and stuff. So I'd get more like inventory to sell. And yeah, then they caught on. They were like, is Vanessa your sister? One of them actually did write back to me. Yeah, bit awkward, bit worrying. But yeah, I used to sell. So that was the first trait. So that's like chapter 1.
Yeah.
Me and my colleague, like Kate, we always joke about, I'm going to release a book. And then in my book, I'm going to have different chapters of like eBay chapter 1. And it keeps going on. And every time we think of something, we're like, well, add that to the chapter. That's a new chapter in the book.
Yeah. That's funny though, how it's the first thing, isn't it? Like at 10, like you think, oh, I love them on the autograph. Yeah. Oh, that was mine. Lucas days at school. Like, I love that.
So sweet.
So what was after the autographs then?
Then I got into doing car boot sales. So I just sell like random stuff. And then I pied off the eBay business. I think I'd had enough of it by that point. And then I started getting an actual job. So I started off when I was 14, waitressing. And then it's just built on from that. So I was always that person that wanted to work. I didn't want to be sit around doing nothing. So I started waitressing. I think I was paid £3.50 an hour or something like that, which is nuts. Yeah. I used to work like obviously Friday, Saturdays. And my dad had to lie to the owner of the business and say I was 15 because you had to be 15, I think. Otherwise it's child labour. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. So when did the dream of the lorry driver disappear? And then what was next when you kind of got to like 14, 15? What did you want to do? Was it just literally go to uni or was it not?
No, I'd still at that point didn't know what I wanted to do. So I actually kind of got into network marketing. So, you know, like obviously pyramid schemes. I got into that and I actually went over to America and I was only like 15 at the time. I flew out myself. My mum did join me at a later date, like a couple of days later. And I went to this big network marketing event. I did that for a little bit of time and then realised it wasn't really for me. Like, you're not going to make enough money in that unless you're extremely high up in or you start a network marketing company yourself. So then I did that. And then I went to uni when I think I'd just turned 18 because I was the youngest in my year at school. So I'm an August birthday. And yeah, I went to uni at that point. I did international business management.
Why did you choose that course then?
Just business has always been something I've wanted to do. So it seemed like the suitable thing for me to do. And it's quite diverse. I think when you're 18, you don't know what you want to do. Yeah. Like there's so much. Like I didn't want to be a doctor or anything, you know, I still didn't know. Yeah.
I think as well, it's a difficult one doing business, isn't it? Because there's no set real career path. It's not like you do law, you be a lawyer potentially or whatever.
Oh yeah, you got medical school, you know you'll be a doctor. It's, you know, it's the same.
So did uni interest you, or was it just the thing that you thought was the right thing to do?
It was the right thing, yeah. Like it was the right thing to do. I think I was guided in that. And to be honest, if I didn't do that, I just think I learned so much there. Like not necessarily you don't learn how to run a business, but I think you learn a lot about yourself. And there's always skills that you take into obviously your later life when you do that. But yeah, I did enjoy uni at the time, yeah.
What did you learn about yourself in them years at uni then?
I just think there's little things like now when like at work, like in my work life, for example, like structuring your work day is very important. And you do learn that at uni more so than school. Prioritizing things, you learn that a lot at uni, you know, whether to go out or like study, you got to, you know, balance the two. And it's the same in your work life. You have to obviously prioritize the important tasks first. So yeah, I did enjoy uni.
Yeah. It's a funny few years, isn't it? Because you do grow up a lot. Because at 18, well, especially me, I thought like I knew it all. And then you go to uni and you're like, my dad left me in my halls and I was like, what do I do now?
I know, I was like, well, what do I do now? It was weird. Like it was a weird feeling. You just turned like, and 18 is young. Yeah. Like you don't realize how young you are at 18. Like you know nothing about life, anything, about the world or anything.
At the time though, you think you know
everything. Yeah. Like looking back, that's almost 10 years ago now. Like that's nuts. Yeah. Like that's you do grow, and every year I think your parents see you grow. Like you're not the same person that they saw like 4 months ago or something like that. And then I was fortunate enough, I did have the time to study abroad when I was at uni. So I lived in Dubai for 6 months. I spent time doing like work placements in New York, which was really fun. I worked for like a PR agency and they did like campaigns for Pepsi, like New York Men's Fashion Week and stuff like that. So that was a really good learning experience. And then I did it in London as well. So I've done a couple of placements.
Yeah.
Which is good.
I think work placements are really good, aren't they? I did one for a year and like I learned more in that 1 year that I was out in the industry than I did in the 3 years that I was at uni. Because whatever they teach you, it's being able to apply it, isn't it? There's so many people that especially went to like say better universities than me, but they may be really book smart, but to be able to apply that to real life situations is completely...
This is the thing, and I think there's different levels of being smart, or there's different types of intelligence as well. You're not just book smart. I think book smart people are great in an academic type of situation. But when it comes to like real life skills, I do think that they struggle a little bit. And the same like could be said about myself. I'm fine in a day-to-day life, but like academically, I just like writing and reading, that doesn't interest me. That's not obviously my passion. So yeah, there's definitely different types of people out there.
What did you really like learn, or what was the biggest takeaways from your placements? I know you said you did 3, didn't you?
Yeah, of course.
What was the main thing?
I think like working,
in the real world as well, isn't it?
I think it was working with different cultures, which was the biggest shock for me, because before I went to Dubai, for example, even before Dubai, Dubai was before America. So I only worked with people from the UK. Like I don't like even in groups at uni and stuff, I'd only really associate with people from the UK, no one internationally. And especially in Europe, that was the first time I realized there are so many different cultures and languages spoken in Europe. It's not the same as just the UK, and when you surround yourself working with them, they've got different dynamics, they work differently. Something that you might perceive as rude, as if, let's say, someone in the UK would tell you, that's just them, that's just their culture. It's not them being rude, that's just them. And you've got to like learn to accept that. Same with when I was in Dubai, I worked with people from like other types of countries, like from like the Far East. Again, they've got a different working life. And I think that now has helped me do the role that I do now, because it's so international. I can deal with different people from different parts of the world.
I think that's a really good takeaway, isn't it?
Yeah.
And especially in like Carlisle and Cumbria, we're not really exposed to many different cultures, are we?
I think now it's got better, but I think like 10 years ago, or 8 years ago, we didn't have many.
No.
It was literally just British people.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Oh yeah, definitely, because there isn't really that many opportunities up here.
It's not, but it's definitely grown a lot. I think Carlisle's grown a lot, and I think it, the investment in the uni and stuff, I think it is getting a lot better. I'd love to see it be like Manchester in like 10 years' time.
Yeah, probably will 10, 20 years.
Yeah, but Manchester never used to be like that. It's taken time for it to be developed.
Yeah, Manchester's thriving.
Yeah, same with like Leeds as well. That used to be like... You can't swear on this.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
That used to be an absolute shithole, right? Yeah. So yeah, Carlisle, I hope goes that way.
Yeah, cool. So then, when you're at uni, then what was the next? Like, what were you thinking? Like, next steps? I need to get a job, or was it go into the family businesses, or what was the thought process?
I remember the conversation I had with my mum, and it was when I'd graduated, and I had applied for a job at the Bulgari Hotel in London, right? And I really wanted this job. It was doing like something to do with sales or something in a spa or something. And I was obviously familiar with that because when I was at uni, I used to work for Ballantines and I used to do membership sales for them. So I was familiar with that. So I applied for this job and I never got it. And I was like completely distraught by it. And I asked feedback and she was like, I think you're great, or something like that. We're just going to go with someone with more experience for this specific role. I mean, I was only 21.
Sure.
So it's still you. And then me and mum had a conversation, and the family business was at a point where it needed to be changed. Things needed to move on. Technology develops, times change. So my mum was like, oh, you can come and run, because we used to do some beauty treatments back in the day, and there was only like one treatment room. You can come and run this. And I was like, look, no disrespect, but I don't want to work for you. Like, I can't be working for you. Like, you either let me just do it my own way, or I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, she did. She let me do it my own way, which was really good.
Did it take much persuading? Or?
Not too much. I think she was just, she knows what I'm like. I'm like a daughter at the end of the day. It's not worth the hassle. And I think my dad was like in agreement as well, so it's fine. And then, I took it over, and then we started with like one beauty room, and I was 21 when I took it over. One beauty room, and then I brought 2 new therapists on, one of which, 3 new therapists. and 2 are still with us to this day, which is fantastic. They've been there since the start. And then when I took over, that was kind of like the birth really of like VL Aesthetics. And now we're like medical, CQC regulated, etc., etc. So yeah.
So at 21 then, it's obviously like a big jump, isn't it, going from uni? Why did you want to take it over? Was it just nothing else to do, or you'd always wanted to do it, or just because it's a family business?
Yeah,
or
a bit
what?
of everything, I think. I didn't know what to do, and this was a really good option. So I thought, well, I'll give this a go. We'll see how it goes, kind of thing. And yeah, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Family business is always family business, which is it's important. It's not like The Sopranos, but like it's still good.
Never know. Goes on behind closed doors.
Like Dominic Toretto. Family's everything.
Yeah.
Like that. So yeah, no, it just seemed like the logical thing to do. The business needed it at that point. It really needed a change.
Fresh set of eyes kind of thing.
Yeah. And I didn't know I moved back home, obviously. I was living at home. I didn't like have enough money to like buy anywhere or anything like that. So, and I never take handouts or anything. So I was like, it seems like the logical thing to do anyways.
What was it like then taking over? What was the first day like? Scary?
It was weird. I was like, it's just weird. You know, when you do something new and it takes you a while to like actually realize like what you're doing, it was exactly like, but yeah, it was enjoyable. It was it was weird. I was like, do I know what I'm doing? Like, I'm gonna have to wing it a little. But yeah, and like you say, so I needed to like, I think revamp like all the treatment menu, like change everything we're doing, look at pricing and stuff like that, and then come up with new things to do, really.
So did you like set out with a certain plan or a goal in mind, or is it just like you say, just wing it and kind of take it day by day?
I was just thinking, like, you can't plan too far ahead, can you? You have to just do it on a 6-month basis and then see what happens within that, because things change. So yeah, it was a case of just putting some sort of form of concept in place and then rolling with that. And then like I never thought like 5 years ago that I'd be like that the clinic would grow to this level. Like you've obviously got aspirations for it, but you can't sit and think, oh, do you know what, 5 years from now this is exactly how I visualize it. It's not, you know, life doesn't work that way.
So then taking over, how did things kind of then progress?
Yeah, so took over, and then we got rid of a couple members of staff. And then we kind of like redesigned everything, and then we got the builders in, and then we did an official launch in the May. I can't remember what year it is because I'm like lost 2 years because of COVID. So I don't know when that was. So we did like an official launch, and then and every year we bring new things on board. So we bring like new technology on board, we improve protocols, we enhance things. So, and I think I go to like conferences internationally and stuff, see what other people are doing, and then bring that to VL.
Yeah. So just going back slightly, saying you got rid of a couple of members of staff.
Yeah.
Obviously at 21, I'd imagine, what was that? What did that feel like to get rid of staff? Was it?
Yeah, I mean, so
a bit tough? Or?
Genuinely, when I first started out, if someone complained or something, I'd literally shit myself. I'd be like, oh my God, no, I can't do this. Yeah. Now it doesn't affect me like at all. Like now I literally could pick up the phone and just say it. Literally doesn't bother me, but that obviously comes with experience and whatnot. But all them little things do form you into what you are, which is, you know, quite a good thing. But yeah, you literally used to hate doing stuff like that. Now doesn't faze me at all. But again, that's just pushing yourself out your comfort zone. Once you've done it once, you can easily do it.
Yeah. A good phrase. I'm not saying loads of phrases, but you need to be comfortable being uncomfortable, don't you?
100%.
To help progress. Because if you're just very within
your comfort
yourself
zone,
and
it's
stuff,
not
it's
good.
just like you're never gonna get to the next level or grow as a person or whatever.
And if you're happy with that, that's fine. Yeah. You know, you've always got to be happy with what you want to do yourself. But if you're not, if you're like me and you want to constantly challenge yourself and do new things, you have to keep pushing yourself out your comfort zones.
Yeah.
Like for sure.
So were you at a different unit before here then?
No, it was always here. Yeah, it was always here. Yeah. So
then you did all the revamp and stuff. You got rid of some staff, and then you got the ball rolling, put your own like stamp on things, did you?
Yeah. Changed it, rebranded into like VL Aesthetics, which there's 2 ways of how you can view what actually VL Aesthetics means. Okay. So obviously my name's Vanessa. My middle name is Lana, but my mum's name is also Lana. Okay. So we've got like that VL there. And then also prior to it becoming VL Aesthetics, it used to be called VibraLife. So obviously we shorten that, that's VL as well. So there's 2 different meanings to the name.
What do you prefer?
Just obviously Vanessa Lana. It's good. It's got me and my mum both in there.
She's still involved.
Yeah, she is still involved. Yeah.
That's what you tell her anyway. Don't tell anyone else that.
Like, if there's enough champagne, it'll be fine.
So then when did you really feel things like were kicking on then? Because obviously at 21, you're young, like you say, you're inexperienced, you're just gaining that experience and growing as a person. When did you feel like you really took things?
I think the first time I really noticed it was when we won the first award. So we won the first award online. That must have been during COVID. I think that was 2020. Yeah, we won the best clinic in the north of England at the Professional Beauty Awards. That was the first thing that I noticed. And that was just a great thing. And especially happening during COVID and whatnot. We did a lot during COVID. And obviously our type of business is obviously very like personable. It's very contact orientated. So the big shift in the business happened then as well. So that was the first thing. And then now we're just up for awards like constantly. Like Simon, who I work really closely with, he always jokes to me, he's like, your hobby is definitely just to enter awards. You love entering them. Like, it's like Del Boy, like entering all these awards.
Anyone. Do you think awards is important then in the type of business you're at?
I think so. I think because the industry is so unregulated, people do not know where to go. They don't know where to go for safe and effective treatments. I think if you've won an award, it kind of just solidifies that. And also from a morale point of view, from a team morale point of view, it's really important because every single member of staff here works so hard. And it's good to like acknowledge them as well, which obviously I like to see.
Yeah. The thing, just my opinion as like a layman, is that you just see these people launching the Instagram pages of, oh, I'm doing aesthetics now, I'm doing this and doing that. And you think like, well, I think, who would choose to go to them over, like you say, a regulated or an award-winning clinic?
I know. Like I've seen like you literally could be a plumber and then go on a course and inject people and then set up an Instagram page and say, look, this is what I'm doing now. It's pretty nuts. Like you are literally sticking a needle in someone's face. There's a lot of vessels in there. Like I'm not a doctor myself. I'm not a nurse. And I would never think about doing that. I just don't think I could sleep well at night. So yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't need to slate anyone else who's doing it, but like it's just like the side effects and stuff and the health implications, isn't that I personally think, and it is a bit crazy because, like you say, the industry, there's a lot of unregulated things that go on in my opinion. But
yeah, I mean that honestly, the unregulated side of things, it really infuriates me, and I tell you why. It's because we've spoke about when you're 18, you're so young, you're so impressionable, you think you know everything and you don't really listen to other people. And it's those 18-year-olds that are really like subject to it the most because they don't have enough money to be able to go to a reputable clinic. Because yeah, let's face it, a reputable clinic does charge more money because it's safe and your experienced staff, you pay for that. You pay for the experience. And they'll just go to the cheapest place that they can see. And I just think that if you take their money, it's just horrendous. Like how can you actually ethically do that? I don't agree with that.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you say. It is like you say, it's when they don't have the money, they pay it cheap and then they fuck up the face.
100%. And then we have to deal with the complication of that. And it's just, and the thing is, right, so like with filler, for example, if you inject filler in the face and it goes wrong, you literally could go blind. You could be permanently blind if that was to go wrong. And the thing is, non-regulated medics or just people that are non-regulated don't actually hold the necessary medication or the necessary tools to be able to fix that problem. So again, they'll send them to A&E. One, that's putting a burden on the NHS. And two, the A&E don't actually hold those types of medications because it's a cosmetic procedure. You know, it's not necessarily a medical thing. So they'd have to go to a medical clinic.
Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So what made you enter the first award then? Was it just because you were bored in COVID or?
I just thought we were doing really well and I always wanted to win awards. So I think it was partly myself. I was like, we could do this. Like if I put together a good entry and I had the time. So I was like, I might as well just put that together and then see. And we're like so thankful to just be a finalist, to then even kind of like win it was insane. Like it was good. So I remember it was like in my mum and dad's house and like we were sat at the dinner table drinking champagne. That seems to be a common trend in our family household. And yeah, we won it. I was like, it was so good. But we must have been open because I feel like I did go to work the next day. So maybe it was like in between lockdowns or I think it was like during the time where you could open for like a month and then close. I think it was like that time.
Oh, cool. What was the feeling like then when you won?
Yeah, it was amazing. Like really happy. And everyone was really thrilled with it as well. So no, it was honestly, it was so good. And that was like the start of like, I think where we are at now.
Then what other awards have you entered or
So-
gotten since then?
So like
Serial
last year,
enterer.
yes, serial entry submission. We've done like the aesthetic medicine awards, aesthetic journal awards. So we took that. I think we used to do like the Carlisle Living Awards. I think when they were a thing. And then I wanted to take it up a notch actually and go national, because I always thought that was it. That's what I did. It's because I was like, oh, I really would like a clinic or an establishment outside of the big cities to be recognised. Because quite often you'd see like London, Manchester, all the big cities, and all the clinics would be there. So I was like, it's really good that Carlisle needs to have a mention. We have the same equipment here that they do in like Knightsbridge, like wherever. So that's why I wanted Carlisle really to be recognised. So yeah, now we get Best Clinic in the Northwest, Best Clinic Northwest Midlands, Best Clinic Team of the Year. We're up for that actually in a couple of weeks. That award ceremony is, yeah. Again, bored of going to the awards.
The novelties wearing top.
Literally, I'm like, I can't be arsed.
But yeah, like you say, it must be nice for the team to be working for a clinic that is recognised and that kind of thing. What do the team kind of say?
Well,
Are they bored of the awards ceremony as well now?
Well, the thing is, they're always in London most of the time. So unless, like, I do actually think we should do like a Carlisle or a Cumbria awards. I know they do business awards, but it's always for like farmers and stuff.
Yeah.
It's never for like this specific type of thing. And I don't know how like glamorous those events would be. But anyways, because it's so far away, it's difficult to take the team because it's literally really far away.
Easy to fly down from Newcastle, wouldn't it?
You could do that. But even then, they've cut flights off, so I don't know. We'll see. But for them, like, it's great because we're constantly bringing new things, so they're constantly developing themselves. So remember what we were saying about like constantly challenging yourself to get out your comfort zone. The team do that a lot, and to see them grow is fantastic. Really good.
Yeah. So how do you challenge yourself then day by day, or how do you continue to learn? Because obviously, like you say, you're super busy. Do you find time to do more self-development and self-improvement?
So I'm not one of those people that's into like affirmations or any of that. Like I genuinely don't find the time for that. And I don't like do self-help books and all of that sort of thing. That's just not me. I surround myself with people that are really like industry leaders. So I associate with some of like the best doctors in the industry, let's say, have the best clinics, and I learn from them because one, I enjoy spending time with them, and two, I just can learn a lot from them. Basically associate myself with like-minded people, which I think is probably one of the best things that you can do in life.
Yeah, people that are just like that one step ahead, isn't it? And just like being able to bridge the gap. I quite like doing that of like people, like older business owners, and just figuring out like how they got there.
Exactly, because you can take a shortcut. You don't have to make the same mistakes that they've made. So yeah, I like associate myself with like-minded individuals that like challenge you, encourage you to grow and whatnot as well.
How do you find them people in the first place then? Is it just reaching out over social media, ringing them up with a phone, or networking events, these conferences?
Well, it's a bit of everything. Yeah, so networking is really important in this specific industry. And then obviously, as well as having VL, it got to a point where like after COVID, I wanted a new challenge. So I then became like the UK manager for an American company. And then through that, I'm able to sort of like associate with like-minded doctors because they're the ones using the same technology as we use here.
That's interesting. So how did that opportunity come about?
So basically, it was in between lockdowns and we were looking for a piece of technology that we were able to treat larger patients with, because the technology that we currently had, you couldn't treat people that were, let's say, bigger, and we needed something for that because we were missing a massive gap in the market and we were not really able to help as many people as we wanted to. So we came across this device called the Emerald Laser, and it's manufactured by a US company over in Florida called Iconia, and we wanted to introduce it at VL, but it's a very large investment, and it was at that point in between lockdowns where I was like, we can't justify this because we don't know how long we're going to be open for, if we're spending all this cash obviously on a device. So that we put that to bed for a little bit, so maybe like a couple of months. And then things started changing. I was having conversations with my mum. I can remember the conversation I had. It was during lockdown. We'd been drinking wine this night, right? It was wine.
Run out of champagne.
Yeah, the shop was shut. Damn it. Right. So we're drinking wine this night, and I was like, Mum, I can't be in Carlisle the rest of my life. Like, I can't do that. Like, it was driving me insane. I was like, come out this lockdown. I can't do it. I need to do something different. Like, I want to be more international. I want to be working more internationally. So I don't know, like what we said about manifestations, I don't do them, but maybe I do them inadvertently and I just don't realize. Yeah. So we had that conversation one night and my mum was like, well, just, like give it some time, etc., etc. And then the managing director of this company called Iconia was looking for someone to run the UK market and had reached out to my mum because my mum, he was like, well, maybe my mum will know someone. And then my mum just said, oh, have you thought about Vanessa? Maybe like that's a suitable conversation to have. And then my mum obviously made the intro. And then from that, conversations happened. And then I ended up stepping into that role. And then we ended up obviously introducing the Emerald as the first clinic in the UK. And then it built on from that, really.
That's cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you say, like, people say you're lucky, but you're not necessarily lucky. You put yourself in them situations, don't you? You've still got to put yourself out there to get that look in the first place.
You do, exactly. And you've got to have them conversations. Like, I might not have been the person that they were looking for, like I might have not been, I was only 25. So I might not have been experienced enough to be able to do it. Usually to run a country, typically people are usually in their 40s to do that. They're not 25, not discriminate against age. And I do still get a bit of that sometimes. But I do think that, I think Simon saw something in me and then here we are. So we've just won an award for the best technology in the UK in December. We've only been on the go for 18 months. So we've done a lot in that period of time.
How did you find introducing it then to the country? Was it a lot of support from the US or was it free reign?
Yeah, the US don't give us too much support. It's all, we do our own thing over in the UK and Europe. They're obviously there as like the mother company of our company, but it's different. We do a lot ourselves. So we had to get like a PR team on board. We had to get a marketing team on board. We had to rechange all the website. There was a lot behind the scenes that we had to do before we could actually even take this product to launch. And now, so last year we placed 20 units in the UK and we're hoping obviously to double that this year as well. So now the team's grown. When I first started, it was just myself, Simon, Kate and Jodie. And now we're like a team of 10. So it's grown a lot obviously in that period of time.
That's exciting then, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
How do you find managing the two then, the VL and the Emerald?
I think we're really fortunate at VL that because when I built up the business, I didn't build it around like my skill set. For example, you see a lot of aesthetic clinics that is just their skill.
Yeah.
They're the people doing the treatments. They're the people generating the income, and that's great. But I built it around practitioners. So we've got practitioners that are really great, that they do everything. So if I'm not here, the business doesn't suffer. And we've got a fantastic clinic manager that runs it on a daily basis. So I don't need to do the day-to-day things that I used to do starting out. So it just makes me more busy trying to do both. But you find enough hours in a day. It's all right.
Yeah, I suppose it's important, isn't it? That it sounds like your interest is more building the business, isn't it?
Yeah.
And helping as many people as possible rather than being on the day-to-day trying to learn to...
Exactly, yeah. I think that's like where my passion is, the business side of things, and then building a business up, seeing it flourish, and then that's ultimately what I like to do.
So how did it kind of go then when you launched everything into the UK from the American? Because obviously you had a bit more experience when you took this place over. Was there more of a plan of action, or did you have contacts that you reached out to?
Yeah, I think because I'd built up quite a lot of contacts just doing what I did previously with VL, I had a lot of people to talk to. So yeah, I had more contacts definitely. So it was easier, but it was on a bigger scale, obviously, because you're hitting just the UK. You're not just doing Cumbria or even Carlisle. You literally try to target the top surgeons, the top doctors in the industry, and you need obviously ways in to do that. But I think from what's helped is because we use the equipment here, you can talk about I can talk about my experience and the team's experience with what we do here and how we've made it a success within our business model. And then obviously I can then help other people to do the same.
Yeah, I think it's important, isn't it, when you're trying to sell a product that you've either got case studies or like you use it yourself, isn't it? Because if you don't have anything to show or you don't use it yourself, they're like, why are you trying to tell me?
I don't like it. But buy it, trust me, it's great.
It's a bit weird, isn't it?
It's like people try to sell you a car if they don't drive like the same brand car. Like, really?
Yeah, I know. You're like, what are you trying to do? So then, obviously, it's been in Paris then
Yeah.
having it as well. Have you got any other trips planned for the foreseeable?
Yeah, so
Work trips?
business work-wise, we do a conference in Monaco. So we've got Monaco coming up at the end of March. That's a big European conference. There's a lot of education and there's a lot of like networking as well that goes on with, again, other doctors in the industry. So what we're going to do from like an Econia standpoint is bring some new doctors over and then some current doctors as well. And we'll do like a dinner for them where every like new and current can associate with each other and then talk about their experiences as well, which I find is a really nice way to build relationships and introduce new people to the technology. And then before that, we've got another award ceremony. So we're up for best clinic team of the best clinic in the north, basically every category, and Emerald's up for best energy device as well.
The same kind of awards.
Yeah, the same awards. Yeah, my God,
Which table are you going to sit at?
Yeah, well, say that again.
Which table are you going to sit at? Have you got two separate tables?
I combine the two.
Oh dear,
yeah, it's cost effective. Yeah, most effective to do that.
So then what are the plans then for both things moving forward? What's plans for this place first and we'll talk about?
We've got enough technology for now, so we're not investing any more into technology. What we are doing, we've bringing actually 2 new medics on board. So in the next couple of months, we're bringing a new dermatologist on board. And we're bringing a new cosmetic doctor on board who will do more advanced treatments. So very advanced treatments for the face and body. We're running more events now that we can do that again. So we do more events. So we do, like last night, we just did a body event, a body masterclass event, got like a menopause event coming up in March. I think like menopause is something that people are talking about a lot more now. So we're giving more guidance on what's available to help with that. So yeah, more events and more practitioners that we're bringing on board as well.
Yeah. So in the last like 6 years and since you took over, what would you say you've kind of like learned, or what have you gained from your experience that maybe would have helped you out when you were first starting out?
Honestly, I just think you can't override experience like at all. There's nothing, you have to do that stuff yourself. You have to put in the groundwork.
Have to make the mistakes as well.
You do, and you learn from the mistakes. As long as the mistakes don't beat you up and it puts you off doing stuff, but you have to make them mistakes. Without it, you're screwed. So I made mistakes. I probably still make them. But
you're doing something wrong if you weren't.
Yeah, exactly. Because then you're not pushing yourself, and you're not doing anything. If you just stay doing what you know, you're not making mistakes. So yeah, I think you can't override experience. What I maybe would tell myself is like just be patient with it. Like I'm one of the people that wants something to happen like last week.
Yeah.
You just have to be patient. Some people don't work as fast paced. So you have to learn to like understand that. So yeah, just be patient.
Yeah. I think patience is key, isn't it? I speak to a lot of business owners and they're the same. It's like they want it now. They want it literally, like you say, last week or yesterday. And also, especially if you've got a team as well, maybe they don't see the same vision or they're not going to care as much as you do. And it's just finding out how other people tick, isn't it? And how not to push other people's buttons and that kind of thing. It's like, say, if you've got a really good team here, I'd imagine your people management skills have developed tenfold over the years.
It has, yeah, exactly. And it's just developing your skills. Like, I'm not the same person I was last year. Like, you grow, like, it's life, it happens. So yeah, you've got to, so I never understand these people that take so long to get back to you. I'm like, how are you even in business? Like, why are things not getting done? Like, that frustrates me a lot when people are slow to like get back to you, especially if it's like in their interest to do so. That really winds me up.
Yeah, I feel like 24 hours is like enough, isn't it? Because like, say, guests on the podcast and stuff, I'll like message them and say, oh, do you want to come? And I'll propose a date or whatever.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'm super busy for the next 3 months. And I'm like...
It's an hour. Like,
I'm like,
busy.
Nobody in this world is that busy to be busy for like 3 months. And I'm like, all right, okay.
I mean, Elon Musk is that busy, right?
No,
He find an hour in his schedule.
I saw a video about him on YouTube the other day. I was just watching like shit on YouTube. And there was this guy who was trying to hug 100 famous people. And Elon Musk was the last person. Yeah. And I was like, even if Elon Musk can find time to hug a YouTuber, you can find an hour. Yeah, he did. Yeah, I think it was just like,
what a normal, nice guy.
Yeah, and I was just like, if he can find that time, other people can find other time. But people are obsessed with saying they're busy, though, aren't they?
Yep.
It's like, oh, I'm super busy, and it's just like,
no, I literally am super busy. Like, I was like, I have to honestly like look at my phone. Without my phone, I would not have a clue. and I've got 2 calendars merged into one. Like, I'm like, how, like, I am genuinely busy, but you find time. So I have to just look at my phone every night and be like, oh, this is what I've got on tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
This is what
Yeah,
I've
just
got on
take
this
it day
week.
by day, the day after, isn't it?
Yeah.
So then the other business then.
Yep.
What's next for that?
So we are hoping that more clinics will come on board with the Emerald laser technology. I think they will, because there's a big shift in the aesthetics market at the minute, and it's going really into wellness and well-being. I think, especially after COVID, I think people are more at tune with their overall health, and wellness is definitely the biggest trend that I see happening in aesthetics. So
Why do you think that is?
I just think people care more about themselves, and I do actually think you can't get as much as you used to get on the NHS. Whereas we're the type of country that relies heavily on the NHS. You look at the states, they don't have that, and they take their health into, well, some states take their health into their own hands. We have been too heavily reliant on the NHS, and that's changing. Already has changed since the pandemic. So yeah, definitely more wellness related well-being is happening, and because the Emerald can deliver that, I think it will really take off this year for sure.
So what does the Emerald actually do?
So the Emerald is basically a fat loss laser that like shrinks a fat cell down. So like fat within the human body does play a vital role. It manages hormone levels, controls hunger levels, energy, etc., etc. So you don't want to kill it. You just want to shrink it down so it's optimized. That's what the Emerald does. And because as well, it's a low level light laser, it also delivers loads of photons into the human body. So when you're delivering that amount of energy, you're also like helping to improve gut health, reduce inflammation, all of these things which you need to when you're looking at the health of an individual. So yeah, it's a really great piece of equipment, and our patients really love it.
So when how long have you had that for? Is it 2-3 years now?
May 2021.
2021.
So what's that, 18 months?
Yeah, something.
About that. Yeah, 18, 19.
So you said it's been popular then, has it?
Yeah, so we do a lot of it back to back most days. Patients get really good results and they feel better after the treatment as well. So it's been an extremely popular treatment in clinic. And even up and down the country, we get the same feedback from other clinics that are using it as well.
Oh, that's really good, isn't it? Yeah. So what would you say like popular treatments are these days, either with the Emerald or in the clinic? Because obviously I'd imagine things have changed a lot over the last couple of years. Never mind the last 5 years and stuff from when you first started to now.
So people want more result-driven treatments. They want something that actually works. Most customers are more switched on, so they understand that there's different things available. Some still are clueless, which is fine. It's our job to educate them. But yeah, the most popular body treatment-wise, either probably the Emerald or the pressure therapy suit is really good as well. And that's basically, it's like a trouser suit and it's like lymphatic drainage, which is great. Great for like reducing water retention if you travel a lot, like lipedema, great for patients with that, great for boosting circulation as well. That's a good one. And then in terms of face treatments, microneedling is really great as well, which that basically just creates little holes in your face, like pierces the skin. And it encourages the formation of collagen, which you need to have when you age. So they're really popular treatments. And then obviously injectables are quite popular, but there's alternatives that you can do to injectables. It's not just injectables. And we're not the type of clinic that just does injectables because it's pretty basic, it's pretty limited. And they can't address the full concerns of every person you see coming through the door.
I suppose everyone's different, aren't they? Everyone wants a different kind of result and stuff.
We always combine things as well.
Yeah.
The best thing to do is combine things and you get the best result that way.
I suppose, like, say, results-driven stuff is probably more from, like, Instagram and social media, isn't it? People see, like, oh, I've seen that. I want to look like this. I want to look like that, isn't it? There's a lot of pressure, though, I feel like, especially I would hate to be a girl growing up these days.
Imagine,
like the social media pressure and stuff, and seeing, obviously, all these Instagram influencers and models and stuff looking how they look, and then thinking, how do I achieve that? And it's just like, well,
I was having this conversation the other day, right? And I do think that between 18 to 21-year-olds, they're different to what we were like when we were that age.
Oh, 100%.
We were never like that, right?
No.
Like, seriously, right?
No.
like we used to just have so much fun, I think.
Yeah, well, even like, I think secondary school people, it's completely different. Like it's crazy. All they care about is being on the phones. Don't get me wrong, I'm on my phone all day, every day.
Like, I don't think they even go out to the level that we used to go out when we were that age.
They only want to do stuff to get the Snapchat or the photo and stuff, don't they? I feel like
really weird. It's like they're not even having a good time.
No enjoyment. I know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I can remember when we used to go out, I used to take a camera. Like, you didn't even have
Yeah,
phone. Like, you used to literally, like, well, maybe not as a boy, but as a girl, like, you used to take a camera on a night out with
yeah,
you.
get the photos and
Not
stuff.
like have the latest, yeah, and you wouldn't post on Instagram.
No.
Like, it's cringy to see the stuff on Facebook memories that you
Oh,
used to
I know,
post.
yeah. You look like 10, 11 years ago. You're like,
What
oh,
is this? And like, we used to have like Bebo
yeah, MySpace.
and like, MSN Messenger.
Yeah, I
Like,
remember.
they don't have the luxury of that.
Nah. Oh, yeah, MSN Messenger. I used to love that.
Remember
Get
that?
home after school and just...
Dial-up internet.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have that. So I do think it's a different generation.
A lot of pressure though, isn't it? Yeah.
A lot more than I think we had, for sure. Like, I don't know how like schools would manage the makeup situation. Like, now I just think they'd have to let them get on with it.
Surely they're allowed to wear makeup, you think?
But even like nails and stuff, there used to be a time where you couldn't wear nail
Yes.
for school. Weird.
It is weird
era.
thinking back, isn't
Yeah.
it? I wouldn't like to be a kid now. But like you say, it's like 10 years ago you're still at school and you're like, oh my God, where's the time gone?
I know.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
10 years ago.
Yeah. Right, so then next part, let's do biggest mistake or biggest regret, personal or business life. You could do one or the other or both. It's up to you.
Biggest mistake.
Or biggest regret, something like that.
Biggest regret.
You can have a think if you want.
I really don't know.
No? Anything like a big lesson you've learned from in the past? You can be in your personal life or in your business life.
Or, well, I did make well, I was a little bit hot-headed, I would say. Like, when I was like even like last week. No, I'm joking.
Today.
Yeah, this morning I was really hot-headed. Yeah.
I sacked the whole team.
I was on edge this morning. Yeah. No, I didn't do that. What did I do? So there was a situation that happened, like, work-wise, where we used to stock this specific skincare brand, right? And like, I found out that this skincare brand was going to go into like beauty salons, and no disrespect to beauty salons, but they don't use really advanced like skincare. And we were one of the first in Carlisle to start using advanced skincare. And I basically contacted the company and then went on their website, right? And went, you know, when you can like find a location, right? And I just like emailed everyone to say, did you know that it wasn't just they'd gone into a beauty salon, they were this beauty salon was like a chain. So they were going to like roll it out across the UK. So it wouldn't just impact me, it would impact everyone. So I just sent a message out to everyone to say, are you aware of this? And it kind of blew up a little bit. Not on me, on the company itself. So that woman, seriously, I'm not going to name her,
No,
but Jesus Christ.
Don't give her the airtime.
I'm not going to. Yeah, like she, honestly,
what did she say?
she literally just got to the point where she actually wouldn't speak to me. Like I'm like, how old are you? Like,
Yeah, how old was she?
Older than me, like maybe 40 or something.
Really?
Yeah. And she was like, so it blew up basically because I contacted everyone. In hindsight, I maybe shouldn't have done that. But as a result, they didn't do this national deal.
Yeah.
So she was maybe just pissed off that I got in the way of her deal.
Yeah, just reckon she was maybe on like a performance or bonus.
Well, as well, it was just awkward timing as
sales.
well because she was having her like distribution contract negotiations at the same time.
Right.
So the timing really wasn't in her favour. But look, honest on her, she's like still got the distribution contract. They seem to be doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't work for her like if someone paid me £3 million a year, but
you got to look out for yourself, haven't you, in that situation, haven't you?
Yeah, like this is literally like my business. So yeah, obviously I'm putting myself first before her.
What impact do you reckon that would have had then?
I just think, I mean, ultimately it wouldn't have been that bad because we actually did end up replacing.
So you got rid of them anyway?
Yeah, so really, I would have just found a different brand.
Yeah.
Which I did do anyway.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's all right. And then anything in like personal life that you've learnt from or?
I regret.
Do you want some water?
No, I'm all right.
Sure.
I don't know.
You don't have to do it if you don't want to.
I can't think of one.
No, it's fine.
I need water.
Yeah, you've got your water, so you had one that's somewhere.
COVID.
COVID. But yeah, so I think just rounding up, just like any advice, because I think these days a lot of girls or women may find it hard to like put themselves out there and try and have a business and and progress, even be career driven and like talk about like how well they're doing. I feel like it's a bit of like a taboo topic for women and girls, whereas say for men or boys or whatever, it's just kind of the norm, isn't it, to be like, oh yeah, I'm fucking smashing it, I'm doing so well and stuff like that. So is there anything that you'd maybe say or any advice that you give to anyone listening or yourself to younger that to if they wanted to start something? Or
I think you have to.
You're dying off now, aren't you?
Like,
get some water down, you get some water.
I've just had some. Like, I'll be fine. Like, who's this person coming? I just think put yourself in the situations, like put yourself in them situations where you'll meet people. And yeah, if you believe you can do it, just go for it. If you've got the necessary skills, then you can smash it really. But you really need to work hard. It does not come easy like at all. Like it's hard work.
Yeah, because I think people think when you have your own thing or your own business that it's easy, don't they? They think, oh yeah, that's easy for you. You just get money and it's just fine, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not my money. It's the business's money. Like, it's not my money.
People don't understand that though, do they? They think just because you're making the money, you get to keep all of that.
Yeah,
and it doesn't work like that. And the other thing I'll just touch on before we finish is you said about like ageism or ageist thing.
I still get it.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't get it as much now, but when I was first starting out, when I was maybe like 22-ish, you'd get it a lot, like even like say people who'd come for marketing, even though they'd be paying us, they'd just kind of think like the way they treated us was like, oh yeah, you're young. What do you know about this? And it's like, you're kind of paying us to do it. So how have you experienced that then? You say you still get it now as well, don't you?
Like, I still get it now. I'm like, really? Do you do that? And I'm like, yes. Some people think I'm older than I am, which I actually don't take as an insult. Like, people think I'm around the 30 mark, which I think kind of makes sense. Like,
as a woman, surely that's a big no-no, isn't it?
It happens like when I'm like actually like 30 and someone says, I thought you were 35.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sell the business and be done with it. No, I'm joking. It happened to me, I think, at VL once. This woman, so I used to do the consultations, obviously, at VL because I knew, obviously, about all the technology. And this older woman, I'm going to say older, she's maybe like 50s or something. She turned around to me and she went, oh, I thought you'd be older. No, I thought, are you doing the consultation? I thought you'd be older. So I just went, well, I thought you'd be younger.
Oh, no.
Yeah. What comment is that to me?
I think as well, maybe she wasn't thinking of what she's saying, but it's like...
But it came out.
Yeah,
I was
know.
like, well, I thought you'd be younger.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I do get it a lot. But at the same time, it doesn't really matter what age you are. If you can do the job very well, then, do it. There's people that 20 years older than me, 30 years older than me that probably couldn't do the same. So age doesn't come into it at all. And same, I think, with either, let's say, if you're male or female, I think that shouldn't play a part in it at all. I think the time's moved on a lot. But having said that, there are some countries where it hasn't really caught up to that. UK definitely has, because they've got 10 different genders. But I think like if you go like the Middle East, it's very different.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Do you find that being a woman, it's harder in business or not? I suppose you don't know any difference.
Yeah, like sometimes I've been in situations where I've had to bring in a male just because I could be saying the exact same thing, but because you're a female, it doesn't hold the same weight. I've been in situations that it doesn't bother me now, but it might bother some people. But it is what it is. It really doesn't bother me.
Yeah. No, I think it's cool seeing more like women and stuff doing their own thing and having their own business as well. Because it's just nice to see it. Because so many boys and men aspire to be businessmen, but not that many, I feel like, aspire to be businesswomen, do they?
Exactly. Yeah, they don't. I think men just think, because it's quite like a manly thing to have, like, be a baller, right? Like, that's ultimately what quite a lot of men want to achieve. But again, that's hard work to get there, whether you're male or female.
Yeah. All right, cool. So I think that's pretty much it, the podcast. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we finish?
No, I think we're all right.
No?
Yeah.
All right. Right. Well, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, like the video, comment your favourite part. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple, make sure to follow the podcast and leave a 5-star review. We'll see you next time. Bye.